Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Indy's Trusted Servant Show on InspireSmall.biz. What or who is Indy's Trusted Servant? Well, that's me, Danny O'Malia, Indy's Trusted Servant. I do customer service training and keynote speaking about customer service and more or overarching organizational culture. What makes Chick-fil-A and Nordstrom's better than everybody else in the industry? They had a great culture, and as they got bigger, they kept the great culture, which is really hard to do. I learned all of that from the master, my late dad, Joe O'Malia, back in the O'Malia food market days, and even before that, I learned a lot from him. When I was 9 and 10 years old, he had a little grocery store in Broad Ripple, where the Vanguard bar is now. It had one cash register, 5 employees, including a 9 or 10-year-old kid. He lost that store. And 10 years later, he came back and successfully launched O'Malia Food Markets with 9 grocery stores and 950 employees and all kinds of other stuff. And one of the things I learned was never, ever, ever give up. If you're interested in my customer service trainings or keynoting, give me a call at 317-413-9062. Now, what's the Indy's Trusted Servant Show on InspireSmall.biz? I like to describe it as lively local small biz and community talk where you can feel the pulse of Indy. And speaking of community talk, today I have with me the president of the Carmel Rotary Club and his successor. And we're here to talk about a humongous event that the Carmel Rotary Club is putting on with the Carmel Symphony in the city of Carmel. But before that, let me introduce our current president, Gary Sexton. I got to know Gary because he was a tenant of O'Malia Investment Company.
That's right. With
his sports clips, barbershops, I guess you'd call them. Mm-hmm. And I get my hair cut at Sports Clips 2 weeks after my wife starts bugging me to get my hair cut at Sports Clips. And Julie here is the chairman of the steering committee for the Arte, Italia, and we're going to come back to hear her later. But Gary, thanks for coming on the show, and tell us about the Carmel Rotary and what we do besides Arte d'Italia in the Carmel community and beyond, if you can.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Danny. Carmel Rotary has been such an exciting place for me to be. I started out about 12 years ago. I was volunteering, and somebody said, hey, do you want to help out with Carmel Fest? And I'm like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. So I ended up volunteering for Carmel Fest 11, 12 years ago. And next thing you know, I became a Rotarian, as the Rotary Club of Carmel is the presenting sponsor of Carmel Fest. And I really love the event. It's a 2-day festival, 3rd and 4th of July every year, with a parade and fireworks and tons to see and eat and drink and do and listen to live music.
And visit with your neighbors.
And yeah, you see everybody. And Carmel Fest has just grown and grown and grown over the years as the city has grown. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful event. And so the Carmel Rotarians put together the committee to run that. And we've got a lot of great folks that have put together a huge amount of hours and energy securing sponsorships. And then what we do is, it's a great partnership with the city of Carmel. And at the end of the day, the Rotary Club of Carmel takes the proceeds and uses those back into community projects.
Such as?
We sponsor a number of food pantries, and including the Merciful Help Center. And we also have some projects called Circle of Kindness, which helps bridge the gap for families that are just maybe one paycheck away from a serious situation. We can get them back on the road without having to go down a different path. So yeah, lots of things. We've done car seats and Christmas boxes and things. We've partnered with the fire department and different organizations.
And one nice thing about Carmel, and I'm sure it's true in every community, but boy, the Carmel Police and Fire Department, they're interwoven in the community in so many wonderful ways, including, you just mentioned the fire department. The Merciful Help Center, actually I had them on my radio show some time back. They do wonderful work. So I didn't know we were supporting them, but that's a tremendous mission. So how does one become president of the Carmel Rotary Club?
Wow. Yeah, you know, you gotta always be careful who you sit next to at lunch sometimes. I'm honored to be president. I never really considered myself presidential, but yeah, after Carmel Fest, I ended up with a seat on the board, did membership chairman for a while and a couple other roles, and next thing I know, I'm on the path to presidency. And
you didn't even know it.
Yeah, I mean, it just happened. But I love it. It's about a 3-year path, Julie, isn't it?
About a 3-year, yes.
So you really become familiar with in our club, and then the Rotary International is where we really get a lot of exposure outside of our club.
Yep.
So it's been a wonderful experience to become president, and it's an honor to serve.
If anybody's looking for some community service, any Rotary Club you could visit is a good idea. You mentioned Rotary International. We know that one of their initiatives has been the ending of polio, and that's a huge deal. Back to Carmel Fest, I have to say, the original Carmel Fest wasn't called Carmel Fest. It was the Carmel Sesquicentennial in 1987, the 150th anniversary of Carmel, and they decided to have a parade, and guess who they asked to sponsor it? O'Malia Food Markets, okay? So I got Jim Steckley, the local restaurateur, if you've been around Carmel for a long time, and we put together they put together the parade. After that, there was a dinner, and it was a huge, huge success, and from that, they started having the parade, and then from that, Carmel Fest blew up around the parade. And I can remember being in the parade too. The bad thing about being in the parade was you had to wait around for the daggone thing to start forever and ever. But anyway, little history of the Carmel Fest and how it got started. And so if Carmel was 150 years old in 1987, it's that much older today, right? So Julie is the president-elect of the Carmel Rotary Club, but more immediately, she's the chairman of the steering committee that's presenting Arts d'Italia. I don't know if this shows up very well, but this is an event that's coming up on February 17th and 19th in Carmel. It involves the Carmel Symphony Orchestra and this wonderful Francesco guy from Cortona, Italy. So Julie, tell us all about how this came about and how people can participate in Arte d'Italia.
Well, you mentioned that a number of our police and community people are very involved, and they are involved with us and our members. So to be honest about it, the mayor talked to Gary and to me, and I think he felt because of our success with Carmel Fest that we could take on the opportunity to do this, raise additional monies. Part of the job of my year is to look at a way that Rotary can keep earning money. And by the way, Gary's the 51st president, so we have a long history of doing good in the Carmel community.
You'll be the 52nd.
I'll be the 52nd. And like Gary said, truthfully, we've talked a lot. I feel very fortunate that, through his presidency and into it, we've talked about legacy, and this has brought us an opportunity to help the city with a legacy. There are cities around the world that want to be partners and understand that Carmel is a great city, that we have a lot of outstanding education and culture. And it happened that the mayor had visited, been approached, and now we legally have Cortona in Tuscany, Italy as a sister city.
And that's Cortona.
That's right.
And I've looked it up. It's only 20,000 people there.
That's right. A small community, but a beautiful heritage.
Yeah,
Hence our design. One of our Rotarians did that beautiful work, and I love how it's the olive green, because the olives and, of course, wine industry are very big there. But the approach, when we got learning a little more about it, discovered that Francesco Attesti is a world-renowned pianist.
That's this guy right here.
Not to mention that he is the deputy mayor. And so one thing led to another, and they felt like there would be a great opportunity for an exchange of a celebration, if you will, of the sister city. A committee was formed here, so there is a sister city board, and they feature how can business be helped by it, educational opportunities. And so then the thought was have a big celebration and make it a fundraiser so that we could have impact back out into the community.
I want to come back to more details on this, but I have to say, on behalf of Rotary clubs, you said Mayor Brainerd reached out to the Carmel Rotary to do this, not anybody else. Back in the day when I was in the Indianapolis Rotary, Eli Lilly started their Lilly Day of Caring. You may remember the year we had the Super Bowl. They told all their employees to take a day or two off and go landscape I-70 and the Sam Jones between the airport. Remember all that? Right. That became the Lilly Day of Caring. After they did that a few years ago, they said, we're going to do this every year with our employees. Well, then they called the Indianapolis Rotary and said, this is getting too big for us. We're going to hand it off to you. Much like Mayor Brainerd called the Carmel Rotary, okay? And now it's called Indy Do Day, and it's 3 days in October where people all around the community are doing wonderful community stuff. So that's the power of Rotary. Again, if you're looking to join an organization that does a lot in your community, find your local Rotary. So back to Arte d'Italia. Describe the event as it's about to transpire on February 17th and 19th.
Well, once we knew that he was such an incredible pianist, we determined that we should have a celebration dinner with a great program, because it turns out not only is he a fine artist, but he's a jazz artist as well. So at Feinstein's at the Hotel Carmichael, we are featuring an elegant gala dinner on that Friday evening.
This is February 17th.
That's the 17th, and it is going to feature a 5-course, amazing dinner meal prepared by Chef Jason, and it includes wines that are celebrated out of Cortona, especially a Sangiovese and a Syrah, and some other terrific things.
The wines are coming right from Cortona.
A couple of them are. You can understand, having been in the grocery industry, importing is a very interesting thing.
Yes.
And we've been very thankful. The hotel has just been wonderful, and they have a director that manages all when they order their alcohol and their spirits. He's been wonderful to work with, and Joe Lazara of Joe's Butcher Shop, wonderful help from him about getting our wines and presenting. Anyway, a great menu, great wines, and then it's called the ABC Trio, which features, of course, Francesco at the piano, and they will be doing what's called Baroque jazz.
Baroque jazz, folks.
So it will be historic composer compositions done to a great
Where's
jazzy
the trio
feel.
come from? Are they from here?
They're all from Italy.
They're all from Italy. Okay.
Cortona.
Okay.
They do travel worldwide. So the dinner will be presented, and then that wonderful music, and be a great opportunity for fellowship and
it's also a great
that music.
opportunity for those of you who have not been in the Hotel Carmichael or to Feinstein's, just to see
Absolutely.
what a wonderful facility that is. They're on the Monon in Carmel,
It's
right?
been beautiful, and they really, when we spoke to them about what to do, their fellowship, the way they have reached out about every aspect and really trying to make it a great event and really support the fundraising, because they know we're trying to make it that benefit. Well, then the extra blessing to it is that, being a classical pianist, Francesco will be performing with the symphony. And I got to tell you that our Carmel Symphony, we are so fortunate. I was at a different kind of concert with the symphony last Saturday. It was featuring music that was Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I'll tell you what, our symphony did an amazing job doing that very up-tempo, high-end music.
And that'll be Sunday in the Palladium.
In the Palladium.
And so Friday night at the Hotel Carmichael in Feinstein's, right? And Sunday at the Palladium. How would one go about getting tickets to these events? Can you buy a ticket for a combination of both events What time are the all that stuff?
Absolutely. So right now the website is literally artditalia.org. It takes you right to the site, and you can choose the things that you want to do. The one big package includes everything. The dinner, the concert tickets, very special seating. And there is a dessert reception, by the way, after the concert.
On Friday night.
On Sunday.
On Sunday, I'm sorry.
Sunday evening after the symphony concert. The way I just wanted to mention, Jana and that symphony, they're very excited about having Francesco because, by the way, he's going to do our own Aaron Copland music, a great American composer, a Grieg, and a beautiful piano concerto. So it will be a lovely feature. Then people can buy the dessert reception following. There will be lovely harp music, but features all Italian desserts. I'm telling you, they're planning amazing Italian
just
tarts.
Just what my cholesterol might need.
Absolutely. Right? Italian liqueurs and coffee. Everything will be Italian feature. So tickets as low as $35 for the concert, and then you can add on the dessert reception. It will be back at the hotel in the Cole Porter Ballroom.
Oh, the reception will be back at the hotel. Okay.
So when you go
all
on
in walking
site,
distance.
Absolutely.
Right.
So when you go to the site, then it gives you those options. You can choose, you can pick your seats for the concert at the Palladium, choose the reception, or choose the whole package. And the answer is yes, it's very successful at walking distance. One other really fun Rotary connection, by the way, is a gentleman by the name of Larry Smith, who sounds, of course, very American and was a Chicago-based native. He's now a native of Cortona, and he's the president of the Cortona Rotary Club.
Oh, okay.
And he and his wife are coming. It's quite a cool story. He and Francesco are very good friends, so there's some nice interaction too from the Rotary Club of Cortona with us.
We better spell Arte d'Italia for folks.
So ARTE, and then it's D''ITALIA, Arte d'Italia. It is a .org. When you go on the site, it functions beautifully. The Palladium, of course, then works through the website. People can go right to the box office. We've had a number of just direct box office sales.
Yes.
The website, or people have called in as well. So
now that's
we
for the
take
concert.
pretty much everything.
That's for the concert, right? Just the concert.
For everything.
For everything.
They're
so
just
you
going,
buy the tickets for Friday night at the box office. That's an important point. I did not realize
we
that.
made it really simplified with our partners early on. We sat down literally with the symphony, the Palladium, the hotel, and we explained how it was going to work and what we needed. And they came back to us with a proposal of how to make it all function very smoothly. We just felt like it'd be very hard for people to make 5 phone calls, and so it's very organized.
Outstanding. So the event Friday night starts at
5:30.
5:30.
And
okay.
a glass of champagne to start the evening, and then people will be escorted to their tables and seats, and it's going to be lovely. I have now had the privilege of tasting the food, and it's just fantastic. We've seen everything from the glassware to the plates to the silverware. It's really quite lovely. And the Feinstein space is well suited for what this is, that nice, intimate jazz concert kind of feel. And
right. Carmel Rotary had our Christmas luncheon at Feinstein's,
right.
And it is a beautiful room. Not only do you get the chance to see the Hotel Carmichael and Feinstein's,
right.
but if you've never been to the Palladium, if you've never been to a concert in the Palladium at Carmel, you're really missing something.
The sound, the acoustics in that building are just remarkable, and they hear it all the time. People that have come that are famous come back and say, man, I can't believe how it sounded in there. I mean, the work that was put in.
And people come from all over
absolutely.
to go to concerts at the whether it's the Carmel Symphony or whatever.
It was beautifully designed for real performance sound. So we are very fortunate to have that. And as I said, fortunate to have that symphony. It's a great organization, so we appreciate their interest in doing this with us. And
well, and it's just an important part of the whole Carmel thing that really you got to give Jim Brainerd all the credit in the world for making Carmel a destination on so many levels. And I've always been a big believer, if you build it, they will come. If you build a Hoosier Dome, they will come.
Right.
If you build the Palladium, they will come, and they do.
Well, the interesting thing is, too, just a little side note, it was a hole in the ground when I moved to Carmel.
Oh, is that? Oh,
And,
okay.
you know, they had just put up the fencing and there was all this dirt, and I still had my little Jack Russell dog, and so sometimes I'd walk around the reflecting pool because I was working a lot of hours, so it was sometimes kind of late at night. And believe it or not, 3 little golden foxes would sometimes creep out from under the fence, and they would come along, and you know, Buster was actually pretty quiet. He would just watch. And you know how Pixar fur, when they do the movies, the fur on the animals blows in the wind? Well, these 3 little guys would just come around that reflecting pool, and it was just fascinating how they, though, began that construction. And
What year would that have been?
well, I've been here 15 years.
15 years ago.
So,
Okay.
and it was really something. And then the other kind of exciting thing is, as they were finishing, we were allowed, a number of the symphony supporters and volunteers, we were allowed to climb some of the scaffolding. And the then director and I were the only ones that made it to the cupola. So I can say,
Wow.
I look
That's pretty
way
cool.
high from the building of the Palladium.
I remember my
So-
late brother Dave was on the Carmel Chamber board, and he got a tour. You know, they toured the board, and he came back from that meeting and said, "You're not going to believe this place." Now that story there,
Absolutely. Well,
that's
and you
worth its weight in
commented
gold.
about Mayor Jim's interest in the arts. You know, he is a French horn player. One other really great memory,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
have a little video from being originally at that concert. You know, he played his French horn in tribute because he was so thrilled about the Palladium, and he played with the symphony. And all the employees of the hotel wear a little French horn pin as their
That's what that pin is. Okay,
symbol,
I did not know that.
a symbol of that culture, and a bit of the mayor's belief that we needed to be hosting arts in our community. So
That's great. Once again, Arte d'Italia, Francesco Attesti, world famous pianist.
right.
And the trio,
ABC trio.
also from Cortona, Italy.
Right.
That's Friday night, and then Sunday, the 19th, at the Palladium. Tickets start as low as $35 to that event,
Right.
and you will hear him play with the Carmel Symphony Orchestra.
Absolutely wonderful.
I think it's a great thing for guys to maybe get a couple of tickets for Valentine's Day to put in their
That's a great idea.
Card. So
Absolutely.
That's a
just
great idea.
Putting that out there.
That's a great idea. And by the way, the hotel has offered to reduce their room rates if anybody wants
Oh.
to stay at the hotel and have a little Valentine package. It's
That's
very
cool.
nice.
Or
So-
if you're coming in from out of town too for
Right.
the concerts.
and you just call and say, I want the Arte d'Italia package.
What's that website again?
artditalia.org. So,
ARTE small d apostrophe
ITALIA. Yeah.
Current Carmel Rotary President Gary Sexton, incoming President Julie Shadinger. Thanks for being my guest today on the Indy's Trusted Servant Show.
Thank you, Danny.
God
Thank
bless
you
you
so
both.
much. Thank you for having
Okay.
us. We love it.